I forgot to mention earlier, when I was born 39 years ago in Jerusalem, is that I was born on March 17th, which is, that you should know, right? I was born on St. Patrick's Day, and I guess that's what led God to bring me, in some miraculous way, to bring me here. But I was also born on 24th of a Hebrew month called Adar. Okay? And not every year the Hebrew date merged with the Gregorian date. It happened, I only celebrated one birthday when I was 19 and when I was 38. These were the only birthdays when my Hebrew date merged with my Gregorian date. And let me try to explain to you why. Ruth, do you like the graphics?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, it's too loud. Let's talk about the differences in calendars. You all know that the Gregorian calendar revolves around the sun, right? The solar year is 365 days, right? That it takes the Earth to circle around the sun, right? Okay, we all know that. You all know that Hijri calendar, the Muslim calendar, revolves around the moon. So there is how many days does it take the moon to circle Earth?
28.
29?
29.5. So that's why the Muslim month lasts some 29, some 30. Okay? So the Hebrew calendar, without even knowing the rest, combined them two. So it's called lunisolar, which is a word I never used until now. And it combines the lunar calendar in terms of the length of the month, but it also goes to the length of the year to fit the solar year. Okay? You understand now? No, you don't. Good. So, let's say we have a few years with 354 or something like that days of the year. What will happen to the Hebrew years in comparison to the Gregorian year?
Faster.
Well, slightly behind.
Right. So many Hebrew months will be pushed back and won't be aligned with the season they are supposed to. And what's the meaning of that? Mostly Hebrew holidays that we're going to talk about will not be on their regular time. So every 2 or 3 years, when it's too much behind, we add a month to the Hebrew calendar. Now, which, by the way, is the month that I was born, but it wasn't listen carefully, it wasn't a pregnant year. That's how it's called in Hebrew. A pregnant year is the year that you add 1 month. Okay? Okay. Let's start with the Hebrew day. So, you know the term Christmas Eve, right? You say Eve. New Year's Eve. So the Jewish day starts a bit before sunset and goes all the way to the next sunset. So it doesn't start in the morning, it starts, so we're heading towards tomorrow now, Jews. Okay, you understand it? And the origins of it is from a verse from Genesis, which is ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום, לאור יום ולחושך קרא לילה. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר, יום אחד, one day, okay? So this is the origins of why we use we enter to the next day right in Hebrew. Let's move on to the week in the Hebrew calendar. So, what are the names of the days in English? You have names, right? And in Spanish? You have names. Right? In Hebrew, you don't have names. In Hebrew, you call it just like they called it in Genesis when the world was created. And there was the first day, there was a second day, there was, and so on. Now, what's special about the Jewish week or the Jewish, the Judaism, is that the holiest day, what's the holiest day in Christianity, by the way?
Sunday.
No, the holiest day of the year.
Easter.
Easter is the holiest day. Is it holier than Sunday?
Yes.
So,
It is Sunday, but
in Judaism, the holiest day comes every week. It's holier than any other day. So the name of the day, you would think is the seventh day, but it's Shabbat. What does the word Shabbat mean? It means rest, but it also, and I'm going to surprise you, it means going on a strike. Yeah. So when you report in the news that the union went on strike, you say the same word as you use for Saturday in Hebrew. Interesting, right? So for us, we believe that God went on strike in Norway on a Saturday. Say, ויברך אלוהים את יום שביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. That's not only a verse, but also one of the blessings of the Shabbat dinner. The very big thing. So Shabbat, the holiest day in Judaism, comes every week and it commemorates what? The creation of the world. Okay? Every week we commemorate. Every week we remember the biggest miracle ever. Don't forget, now that you know, earlier, just 2 seconds ago, you had an excuse, you didn't know, but now you gotta know that towards every Shabbat, every Saturday, you need to greet your Jewish friends, and if you want your Catholic friends too, by saying Shabbat Shalom, which means, Shalom you already know what it means because you had the word of the week, right? So Shabbat Shalom means a Saturday of peace, okay? Which is a very, very big thing because Saturday you're not supposed to do anything. You rest, you pray, but you rest. You don't use technology, you don't drive your car, you don't work, obviously. But just imagine it, you can't even turn on and off the lights in your room. You don't do nothing, you don't turn on fire. So all you need is peace on this day. Okay, so that's how you greet. And by the way, I'm wondering, next Shabbat, next Saturday, when will it start? Friday, right before sunset. My work here is done. Thank you. Good job, guys. Okay, let's move on to the month. So as you said, it's a lunar month. It means that when we see the moon in different shapes, eventually we know that the month is over, or we know that the next month begins. In the past days, in the biblical times, and before technology, took control of our lives. That's how we knew the new month begins, right? We didn't know to calculate it thousands of years in advance. So, which kind of shape would you guess is the beginning of the month? I would say the full moon, right? No, wrong answer. Exactly. So the full moon, every month, full moon is the 15th of the month. Every month, forever and always. The full moon is the middle of the month. And then it goes on, and the new moon is the beginning of the new month. Got it? Now, the beginning of the month was one of the biggest days in Judaism in the early days. So it was like a holiday that you would commemorate, the creation and everything. It kind of declined with time, but we still say blessings and we still go to synagogue to say blessings for the new moon every month. The new month every month. There are 2 months in the Hebrew calendar that can vary in terms of their length, either the 29 or 30. 1 year they would be 29, 1 year 30. Kislev and Cheshvan. And let's move on to the month. Before we do that, let's read. ובראשי חודשיכם תקריבו עולה לשם. פרים פני בקר 2 ועיל 1, כבשים פני שנה 7 תמימים. If you notice, I didn't say the name of God because you're not allowed to say it in Hebrew. So what did I say instead? No, that's the word that you're not allowed to say. By the way, you can say it in the middle of a prayer in a synagogue, but you're not allowed just to talk about it in a secular moment like this. Okay? So what I say instead is Hashem. Hashem in Hebrew means the name. Thank you, Deacon Steve. The name. So that's why we say instead of saying the name of God. Okay. The Hebrew year. Can I pull this? We have 12 months just, it's okay, it's okay. Thank you. We have 12 months just like you do. What's the first month? Who says Nisan is the first month? Why do you say so? Nisan is not, right. Just the answer. So, say again, I missed the
Lisa and I drive a Nissan.
So Nisan was, throughout the Bible, the biblical days, it was the first month of the year, and it always appeared in the, which season? Spring. So spring symbolizes in Judaism a new start, blooming and everything. So Nisan was always the first month. Okay? And then it changed. There was some kind of elections. The smart rabbis of Israel decided to finally have a debate on what month should be the first month of the year. And there was one winner out of 4. And this was the day that the Jews believed that the world was created on, which is the first day of Tishrei. So for 2,000 something years since the rabbinical age, we celebrate the New Year's on the first day of Tishrei and not the first day of Nisan. You're supposed to know. So when we celebrate our New Year, we celebrate the day that the world was created. So when would be the next day that we remember that the world was created or commemorated? It's next Thursday. It's a holiday that is called Rosh Hashanah. What is Rosh? Rosh is head, and Shana is a year. So everything in Hebrew, head means start or something. So Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Chodesh, by the way, is the head of the month, is the first day of the month, as we said earlier. Rosh Hashanah is the first day, is the beginning of the year. It's also the creation of the world was on the same day. We'll talk about it later, about things, about the customs. Have you ever heard of Yom Kippur?
Yes.
So Yom Kippur is a crazy day. Speaking of Jerusalem, growing up in Jerusalem. So if you ever accidentally be in Jerusalem or in other towns and cities of Israel on Yom Kippur, you will think you either came there during apocalypse or you're daydreaming, because it's a ghost town. No cars, nothing. Everybody is either in synagogue or resting at home because they're fasting and it's so tough, so difficult. It's hot because it's October in the Middle East, so it's hot. So really, on Yom Kippur in Israel, you will only see kids on their bicycle, because it's a great day to ride your bicycle because there are no cars on the road. But it's really a ghost city. No stores are open, no business is being done, nothing. So Yom Kippur is a crazy day. And we will later speak about its meaning, the meaning of the day. Then we have Sukkot. Sukkot is tabernacles. You know the holiday? So Sukkot, the tabernacles, the booths, are small wooden houses that we build and we stay in for 7 days to remember Exodus, to remember the time that the Israelites went from Egypt to the Promised Land and had to stay in tabernacles or booths, right? So this is another holiday. The next holiday you're going to hear a lot about on October 22nd. Put it in your schedule. It's called in Hebrew Simchat Torah, which is the Torah celebration. Okay? We finish reading the Torah chapters this day, and we start reading it all over. Okay? This is one of the meanings of the holidays. Hanukkah, have you heard of Hanukkah? Okay, you probably heard it like Hanukkah and Christmas together, but now we already know it doesn't have to be together, right? At the same time? Okay. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. It commemorates the revolt of the Jews against the Greeks, the Hellenists, who controlled Jerusalem. And the temple, our temple was destroyed, and there was 1 can of oil, and we managed to keep the light going for 8 years, for 8 days with this small can of oil, and that was a big miracle, and that's why we celebrate the Festival of Light. What do we do on Hanukkah besides spinning the dreidel and eating donuts? Our donuts, which are a bit different. We light what you call a menorah, which is the wrong name for Chanukiah. That's the name of what we light. Menorah is one of the symbols of Judaism, but Chanukiah is something completely different, and it has a different number of, how you call it, chains? Yeah. So we light 8 of them. Every day we light 1. Actually, every day we add 1. So the first night we light 1, the second night we light 2. and etc. until it has a full Hanukkah. Yeah, Tu B'Shvat. Have you ever heard of Tu B'Shvat? So Tu B'Shvat was one of the candidates to be Rosh Hashanah, to be the first day of the year for Jewish people. Why? Because it's the first day of the new agricultural cycle. But it is still mentioned as a holiday. Only a different holiday is what we usually do during this holiday is we plant trees. Nice, and we eat fruits. That's also one of the deeds that you do on this day. The next day would be Purim. Purim, what you need to do on Purim is go crazy and do stupid things, silly stuff. And in order to do that, you drink a lot. You really drink a lot. I don't know, I always combine them two, even if they were 2 weeks away, just keep drinking. Don't fire me. I'm joking. And another thing that we do is we wear costumes. So what you do on Halloween day, we do on Purim. So we combine drinking and costumes. Just imagine how fun can be, right?
Mom and Tasha.
So that's Purim. And Pesach, Passover. Have you heard of Passover? Why do you call it Passover? Nice. Can you say it out loud?
The angel of death passed over the doors of the Israelites that he could blood of the land.
Right. And what do we do now to commemorate this mark on the door? We have a thing called mezuzah, with a scroll of scriptures inside, and every Jewish house, I hope I won't give away my Jewish friends now, but every Jewish house has a mezuzah on the door. So just so you know that. And we eat matzah, which is a very untasty bread, kind of type of bread, like more like a wood thing. But it's a big thing to eat it, I guess. And that's because we're not allowed to eat bread. Why aren't we allowed to eat bread during Passover? Why?
You can't leaven it.
Right. Exactly, because they had to run from Egypt to live quickly and didn't have time for it to become real bread. And they took this wooden
cardboard.
Not good. So when you were a kid, you try to add chocolate to it, but still not good. But it's not supposed to be good. Yeah.
Why is Yom Kippur called Forgiveness Day?
I will get to it in 3 minutes. Thank you for the great question. Okay, the next one. So, what happens here? I'll give you a hint. Passover is celebrated in a month called Nisan. So, here they would start the new year in the biblical times. Okay? So, Passover was the first holiday in the year. No longer, but it used to. Yamim translates into days. It's the national days. It's a bit different, and we'll talk about it, a bit different holiday, but a very important holiday in Israel. Actually, 3 holidays. One is the Holocaust Memorial Day. A week later is the Remembrance Day for the fallen soldiers and the victims of terror attacks, and the Independence Day, which is the biggest day in Israel. I can give you an example how big it is for me. I'm a vegetarian, okay? If you would sit next to me during lunch you would know, but you always sit in other tables. I don't know why. I'm thinking maybe because I'm Jewish. I don't know. I'm a vegetarian, and there's one day a year that I eat meat as a blessing, which is Independence Day. So, and many people have different traditions for Independence Day, which is a big day in Israel. And by the way, for the Jewish people of the diaspora as well. Next day would be Shavuot, which is kind of like Pentecost, right? When do you celebrate Pentecost?
50 days.
50 days after Easter.
50 days?
After Easter.
Okay, so we celebrate 49 days, 7 weeks. Shavuot translates to weeks, by the way. 49 days after our version of Easter, which is Passover. Okay? And it was the day that the first sacrifice was brought to the temple. And it's the day that you start harvesting your wheat. At least we used to before it was all year long, right? So it's also a big holiday in Israel, in Judaism. And you have another fast called Tisha B'Av. Now Tisha is 9 in Hebrew, and Av is a month that we saw earlier. Remember Av? If not, we'll get back to it. So the 9th of Av. You all know the spies story? When the Israelites came to the Promised Land, Joshua sent the spies. They came back and they said what?
They didn't want to go.
They didn't want to go, so what did they say? You can't grow anything there. All of the people who live there are giants, we can never beat them. And they started saying bad stuff about the Promised Land. So this was one of the biggest sins considered in Judaism. And God said, yeah, that's what you did, that's what you did. So on this day, on the 9th of each Av, you will have bad news. It's called, in the Bible, it's called the cry for generations. And the first temple was demolished, destroyed on this day. The second temple was destroyed on this day. The Kristallnacht, I think, happened on this day. Many horrible things in the history of Israel happened on this day, and it's a fast day. It's the second most important fast for Jewish people. Now, there are two main types of holidays in Judaism. One is a holiday from the Torah, which means it was given to us by God. And the other is a rabbinical holiday, which means, again, it was interpreted by the rabbis, by the religious leaders. Which one of these would you guess are from the Torah, from God Himself? Not necessarily by colors. No. Sukkot is one, right? Hanukkah is a Torah one?
No.
And you can guess by the intonation of my question that it's not, right?
Purim? No. Okay.
These ones. Okay?
So you know what fooled us, right?
What?
You know what fooled us, right? In the Catholic Bible, which tries to imitate the Jewish scriptures, we have the story of Hanukkah.
Okay.
And you said Torah, and probably some of us are thinking Bible,
Oh.
and you mean Torah.
Oh, thank you. So
Pentateuch.
Torah is the first part in our Bible. So we have Torah and prophets and writings, you call it?
Wisdom.
So I refer to the Torah.
Right.
Okay, sorry. And the next one, we'll see which are the rabbinical holidays. Time? Oh, another. Yeah, and there's another subtype of Jewish holidays, which are the pilgrimage holidays. Where did you go to do your pilgrimage? To Jerusalem, to the temple. So there are 3 holidays that you do pilgrimage, which are, okay, I won't do it to you again, which are Sukkot, which are Passover, and Shavuot. Okay, these are holidays that you used to go, as Deacon Steve was talking about today, go to the temple, take off your sandals, right? Do the whole thing. And by the way, to nowadays, there is a custom on Yom Kippur that you take off your sandals. You're not supposed to walk with your shoes to the synagogues. It also reminded me. I listened to you today. I always listen. Yeah. And there is another kind of a holiday, which is the National Day, which is a more modern type of holiday. I would say about Tu B'Shvat, because it has to do with the land, with harvesting and with planting, that it's mostly celebrated in the Holy Land and not in the diaspora. Okay? So now I know we don't have much time left. I promise you to talk about the high holidays, which are really coming rapidly towards us. It's starting this Thursday, or more correctly to say,
Tonight.
Wednesday evening, right? And it starts with Rosh Hashanah. By the way, what I didn't mention earlier about Shavuot, I just remembered, was that Shavuot's other name is Chag Matan Torah, which is, you remind me of that, asking about Torah, thank you. It's the day that the Israelites in the desert celebrated receiving the Torah. So it's kind of confusing. Why? Because, okay, you have Rosh Hashanah will have a big table with blessings on different things. One of the unique ones would be apple with honey, and we eat a head of a fish. Why? I was hoping you would tell me. The tradition is you want to be a leader, you want to be head of something. So you have the head of the fish, the apple with honey, and many other traditions to have a sweet year. So when you greet a Jewish person towards the new year, you say Shana Tova, which is a good year. Say Shana Tova. Shana Tova, but you also say Umetuka, which means and a sweet one. So you don't have to say Shana Tova Umetuka. So we really greet each other to have a sweet new year. Okay, so that's why the apple with the honey. Yom Kippur is on the 10th day of the first month of Tishrei. Why the 10th day? That's a good question. It was the day that Moses went down from Mount Sinai with the Torah, with the tablets, but with the stories with the Torah. And that's kind of confusing, right? Because we said we celebrate the Torah here, and we said this is the Torah, the holiday that we receive the Torah. So let me explain something. So Shavuot is celebrated here, 6 days of Sivan. Okay? 40 days, where does it lead us? Around here. He came back, Moses came back from Mount Sinai, and what happened? First time, what happened?
Oh, the golden calf.
He broke it. Why? Because of the golden calf. Remember, there was a big sin. What he did for the next 40 days was apologizing and praying to God to forgive the people. So we sat down 40 days went from year to year, 40 days. The beginning of Elul. Elul is considered in Judaism the month of asking for forgiveness, mercy and forgiveness. Okay? Because Moses asked the people, say to the people, I'm going to go up again. But what you do this time is not beating another golden calf, but pray and ask for forgiveness. So until these days, the Jewish people start their month in Elul, and they have special prayers to ask for forgiveness. And then, he went up for 40 more days until the 10th day of Tishrei, which is Yom Kippur for us. Again, we pray all day, we're in the synagogue all day, we ask for forgiveness. Our books are open, so we have different kinds of books. We have the book of life, we have the book of health, we have the book of income, we have the book of friendship, we have many kinds of books. They are opened on this day. God sits up there in heaven and writes our names. Would it be in the book of life or in the book of death? Will it be in other books? And then we have this whole time of the high holidays to rewrite our destiny, to rewrite our fate. So this is a big day because you fast and you torture yourself. You're not supposed to wear shoes because you torture yourself, and you're not even allowed to brush your teeth on this day. So you really torture yourself and the others next to you in the synagogue. And this whole period of time, of days, of the high holidays, the signature of the book that you're written on is made here. So, towards Yom Kippur, we say to one another, have ktiva v'chatima tova, good writings and signature. And toward this day, we only say, have a good signature, because there's no more writing. If you're written in the wrong book, there's nothing you can do. And that's all for today. More questions? Okay, class dismissed.